Hi everyone, how's everybody doing out there? Today we're going over this BMW here. This is a BMW E30, one of the greatest BMWs ever made. It's a workhorse, a great car. So a testament to show when cars sit, problems happen. So this car was just fine when I parked. Now I will have issues. The car won't start. Today we'll be talking to Casey. Casey will be diagnosing, going over some issues on the car to find out why you won't start. Originally I thought it was the fuel pump, but he proved me wrong. On top of that, the heat is intense here in Southern California. The sun is intense in August. So stay in the shade. It's super hot. And I don't know how he's doing this, but he's working in the sun. He didn't need a tent or anything over the car, so he's fine, which is incredible. BMW E30s are a legend. They're great cars, very desirable today. This one is a two-door manual. It's a 325e. While the engine is super durable, things happen on its own. Perhaps age caused some decay on some of the wires or harness. We're not sure yet. But there was nothing wrong with this car. This car, I bought it from a one-owner car. No one has ever really done anything major to it. I'm sure Casey will find out the problem. On top of that, we're having a birthday party, so I need to put a jumper, sort of one of those inflatable jumpers here for the kids. So this car has got to be moved out of here. We're gonna start it no matter what. Well, let's watch this video. So the BMW is finally running. It's been sitting for so long, it wouldn't start. I needed Casey to do his magic here. So don't be scared, don't be impressed by the looks of this car. This is excellent, it's a workhorse. The engine is amazing, 6 cylinders, you know. No need to explain, but it's a great car. I've had it for many years. Just now, the first time ever, we're changing alternators. It's incredible. And there's some electrical issue. It wasn't the fuel pump, probably the computer. The power door is locked, don't work anymore. Sometimes it turns on, turns off. But everything started with the power door locks not working. That caught my attention. When the power door locks weren't...
Yeah, on and off, okay. So it's still got not really anything on the dash right now, but I found 2 blown fuses. I've got a little bit more on the inside of the car, but still we're missing a couple things. So
interesting.
Still some electrical gremlins to find.
And the computer, you think is...
If it's running, the computer should be fine. I'm gonna make sure right now it's charging, alternator-wise, but it seems pretty happy.
How did you make it start? You bypassed something? Explain exactly.
On this one, the middle one here is the fuel pump relay. So with the power probe, I can send power. So I just pulled the relay out of it, and I also checking because we thought maybe it was a bad fuel pump. Just put power straight to the fuel pump, and I could hear. It took a little bit. All of it was empty up here. Built fuel pressure up here, and then honestly, I wasn't really expecting it to start right now. Was still trying to troubleshoot, but with fuel pressure up here, it lit right off. So
cool.
Means at least the fuel injection stuff and ECU seems to be happy. So just seems like we've got a couple little electrical gremlins going on with the dash.
Bad fuse will cause not to start at all?
I don't think that's what it... Well, actually it wasn't, because I didn't check the fuses. I hadn't gotten there until after it had started.
I see.
So that fuses might be your door lock. So I want to try that now and see if it fixed that. It burned out a 30 amp fuse, which is a big fuse. So
I see.
There's a lot that it does. Runs motors in the doors and the trunk. There's one for the gas door. So
he operates the gas door as well.
Yeah,
and the trunk. You're right.
There's a little lock. Yeah.
So this is great because the girls are gonna have a birthday party. I need to get these cars out of the way to put a jumper here.
There we go.
A bouncer thing.
Absolutely. Much easier when it's running.
Yeah, the electrical. You would know. That's like even bigger can of worms.
Yes, unfortunately.
But no one's touched this car. This car came from the original owner. She used to service it at Wally at Ford Tech, and Wally called me and bought it straight up from the original owner. So it's a simple, straightforward history. Didn't pass through a lot of hands and owners. So no one's really touched this car. It's just age, just the aging process. just heard from Casey here that the alternator is not charging.
The cluster not working is why the alternator's not charging. So
Not a bad alternator.
probably not. Because if the alternator's not charging, I should have the battery light should be illuminated right now.
I see.
And you see, I've got nothing on the cluster right now.
Huh.
So I've got something missing here. So keep looking at stuff to see what's going on.
Doors lock are working now. And was a fuse or just the cluster issue?
I think that 30 amp fuse was unhappy. Just figure out why nothing on the dash is powered, no blower mode or anything like that. So
And also, why would the fuses burn? Just all of them like this. Never happened before. So I don't know.
hard to say.
Some, like you said, some short somewhere.
Could be. I mean, at this point, we'll leave the fuse in it and see what it does. If it burns out again, then we know we've got an electrical issue. But sometimes, especially with the old lock actuators, sometimes they just have enough resistance in it. One of the times you go to lock it, whether it's cold outside or something like that, it'll pop a fuse. But for now, we'll leave it and see. If it goes again, then we'll chase it. No, right now we got to see what's going on with the dash. So
This is checking the cluster.
yeah, I think it might be an issue with the cluster itself. I'm gonna put it back in for now. So kind of notorious for the board in there, the solder joints will fail. Because I'm getting weird, like the fuses for the cluster with the key off. I'm getting like 2.5 volts, which is funky.
You should get 0.
Yeah, I should have nothing on it right now, and so.
But even with the battery, when the car turned off, newer cars always draw some kind of maintenance energy for the clock, and you don't think that's it?
But it would draw a full, you would see like a full 12 volts there. It shouldn't, that like 2.5 volts is strange. And so I checked what runs the battery light, the plug that's on there, and with the cluster unplugged, it seems happy. It has 2 spots where we're getting battery power, which is good. So leads me to believe it's a cluster. I've seen clusters on E30s do weird stuff. I have an extra cluster that we could put in this car to try and test it.
Absolutely.
So
Great
I
idea.
think that's probably the next step is I have to pull it out of another car, but I'll pull it out, we'll put it in this. And if that fixes it, then we'll try and find either see if we can fix this cluster or try and find another cluster for this car.
And the fact that they're notorious also for the speed to the gas and the speedometer to act funky.
Yeah, it could
jump around.
Could definitely do that. These are notorious for the grounds going bad on the cluster as well. That's why usually the temperature gauge and the gas gauge will either jump around, or a lot of times, I don't know that I've owned an E30 that isn't like that, but you smack the dash to get the temp gauge to come up when you first start the car. So they are known to have some issues, and like you say, it's just with age on these things.
So for those who don't know, E30, this is a BMW 325e, a 1985 BMW 325e.
Yep.
And the E30 he's referring to as the technical name. Well, for those that don't know, what would you say that is?
It's just the chassis code for 84 to 92 BMW 3 Series.
Here we go. Interesting. So all of them, both generations had the same issues all the way to
Yeah. The clusters have always been a little funky. It's funny, the Alpina, my dad's car, had a charging issue, and it ended up being the cluster that was the issue.
Wow.
We were able to bypass the cluster and it worked for a while, but he finally, through switching a couple clusters around and taking good parts from each, we built a good cluster, and it's fine now. So it's why it was one of the reasons this is one of the first things I checked, and it does seem like that's what it is. So
I imagine some electronic stores rebuild those things too.
There are places that you can send it and have it rebuilt.
Because I imagine it's not available for sale unless you find on eBay, but then you find another trouble.
Exactly. That's the thing, is you can find them out there, but you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And so especially this cluster's super clean. If we find out that that's what it is, there are a couple places that you can send them and have them rebuilt. That might be the best plan on this thing. But I'm gonna plug it back in, so because if with it unplugged it won't start. So I'll plug it back in and just leave it halfway in like this,
sure.
so you can move it.
No, I'm not moving until the 16th.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I should be.
But interesting. Yeah, testing with another one is an awesome gift. I mean, because it's the best way to tell, if that's the cluster problem.
Yeah, no, it's the easiest
Instead
way to
of just
troubleshoot
guessing.
these. Yes. Yeah, so no, I'll pull one from the other car and we'll check it to see.
Overcoming one obstacle at a time.
Absolutely. Alternator.
Very cool.
The diode's leaking. It's back powering the interior, dash and everything. And number one, it's killing the battery, but then I'm sure the voltage regulator, the other thing is when I went right now, the car only ran.
Hi everyone, I'm here talking to Casey, and he's going over the second visit. We're still having issues, but he's going over the diagnose and he's found the problem. Let's continue to listen.
No, seems like it's an alternator. I put a new cluster in. We still have the battery light on the dash with the key off. So I unhooked the power lead off the back of the alternator, and now with battery power to the car, my battery light is off with the key off. When I started it off the jump pack with the alternator disconnected, now my gauge cluster works like it's supposed to.
Okay.
And the other thing I found, I ran the car for 2 minutes maybe just to get it up in the driveway. The alternator's smoking hot right now.
Well,
So I'm sure the voltage regulator is what's unhappy, one of the diodes or something, but we'll get an alternator put in it, and it seems like that's the issue on this thing.
excellent. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
We'll be back, folks.
I think your old cluster's fine.
Oh, I see.
I think what it is the alternator. I don't think there's anything wrong with that cluster. So I'm gonna leave the other one in it for now. We'll get the alternator changed and then try to swap between the two clusters and make sure everything works like it's supposed to.
Okay, we're glad for that.